So, what should we talk about?
Bizarre trees, outdoor bouldering, beverages, and then the thing everybody's talking about. NFTs and the Metaverse, everybody.
Okay. All right.
So, what should we talk about?
The ever-present question. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
Me too.
We're here for everyone's information. We are here in Joshua Tree National Park.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, we climbed up on a big rock, so there'd be a cool view. Yeah, and this is our last day, technically, in Joshua Tree. We're leaving tomorrow to continue the journey, starting to head back east. So.
Yeah, so this is our big trip we've been on. We've been out here for about a month, a little over a month.
And a half. Yeah, a month and a half.
We came out here. We saw a bunch of cool stuff on the way, and then we came out here mainly to rock climb.
Yeah, and that's what we've been doing. That's what we were doing just a minute ago.
Meanwhile, apply to jobs and
Fun.
try to get some kind of a career going. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now we're kind of in the north of like the heart of the park. So just south of us is Hidden Valley Campground, which is basically like where all these like the main roads converge within the park. And so we went a little bit north of it in search of some boulders we hadn't done. And we found some. We were working on some a little while ago.
Yeah, right now we're at a place called Echo T.
Yep.
Which there's
it's
Echo
not
Rock
visible.
is behind us. You probably can't see it, but
I can't even see it.
there's just some gorgeous views. We got Joshua trees everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how visible they are, but they're the bizarre trees that are the namesake of the park.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we wanted to do a podcast here. Podcast has begun.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, so we got some. Maybe that'll be the theme of the podcast is beverages.
Beverages.
It's called episode 13, beverages. So we're gonna make some tea, and then we're gonna make some beer.
We're gonna brew beer on top of
some beer.
Joshua Tree Rock.
We got some Joshua hops. Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, so
yeah.
So go ahead and get going with
Well,
the
so
tea
I
if you
mean,
want.
yeah. So I mean, what should we talk about? That is the question.
Okay. Well, we've been thinking about a lot of things.
I'll start making some tea. And
Okay.
then you can go ahead and give a little background on
something.
On something. Whatever
So
you'd like.
yeah.
Take it away.
So we've been. I don't even know what to talk about.
Well, I mean, bouldering. Bouldering is the obvious thing.
Yeah, sure. That's
the kind of thing of the year award.
Right. Yeah.
For 2021, at least.
Yeah, we've gone bouldering more we've done more outdoor bouldering in like this week than we had in all of, up until all of 2020 or all of 2022 or whatever year it is. So yeah, the bouldering out here as compared to the little bouldering we've done actually in the Adirondacks in New York is like way, way different out here. First of all, the rock, which you get this nice little view of the rock here. It's really rough, and it is
so rough.
It's so incredibly rough, and a lot of it they refer to it as choss. If little bits of it basically fall off while you're touching it. So you end up with these nice little like gnarly pebbles in your flesh, which is really lovely. And yeah, overall it's like it's totally different. There's a lot more like your hands end up hurting a lot more. We've like the main thing that's been preventing us from just climbing every day has been the amount of skin we have on our hands. Here, I can do it while you do. Oops.
We got our little burner here.
Yeah, we actually haven't used the burner the whole trip yet. We were using a Coleman grill on most of the ride. Whoa! Holy shit! Okay. Yeah, I should have known not to. I think you might have lost it.
Go out.
Yeah. Okay.
I got it this time.
Yeah. Don't turn it on just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see just the heat coming on. This might be a bad idea. We're unsure.
Probably a very.
We're on like a cliff. There's like a 20-foot drop off to our left. At least 20 feet. Oh, you don't have your mic, so maybe people can't hear you well.
Probably not.
Well, we can mix it in the triple mic. Yeah, we're gonna make some tea, talk about life. Yeah. So okay, but you had prepared. I guess we won't talk about that yet because you're still making tea. I was gonna say you had been a little more prepared, I think, with the topics you wanted to hit, which I know maybe roughly what they're.
I mean, that's usually how it goes, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm ever really prepared.
Okay.
But,
All right.
but
well,
yeah. I mean, we haven't done the podcast in a while. We've been up to a lot this year. We've been rock climbing. That's like the main thing.
yeah, we left January 5th. We'll give an itinerary of the trip so far.
I think even before the trip, we can talk about rock climbing in general and like how we got into it.
Sure.
Or even
yeah.
our thoughts on it. Or like, let's reflect a little. Like, you know.
Yeah. Sure.
like I'm curious. I'm curious for you. You started climbing a little bit before me.
Yeah, like 6 months maybe.
How was your upbringing in climbing? Because basically my upbringing was, you saw it all, but I didn't see all of your introduction to climbing because you did most of that in Rochester.
Well, so most of my climbing started with Dan, our friend Dan,
right?
Who, so we went to school together, and I don't know how we started. I think we were just talking about climbing originally, and then we eventually decided to do an indoor climbing class. But I think we climbed a couple times before that, like right when the pandemic started. For a while I was referring to climbing as like my pandemic thing. Everybody had a pandemic thing, making sourdough, making fucking movies, making all sorts of stuff, and like, or just sitting watching stuff. But I was getting into climbing. I think, yeah, that's good. I think I started, I don't know exactly if I climbed before. No, I must have, okay. I climbed, yeah, because I was still, okay. So me and Dan basically I think we just decided we wanted to go climbing. I don't know why. Maybe it was because the gym closed or something like that, and we were like, we need something to do. So
right, you were working out with him a lot.
Yeah. So Dan's the one who got me to go to the gym in the first place, like however many years ago.
And then you stopped working out at the regular gym and started working out at the climbing gym.
Yeah, exactly. And so Dan's still buff and I'm not buff anymore. But basically we started climbing a little, and then we took a climbing class together fall of my senior year. So the fall of 2020, and then we took this indoor bouldering class, and it was nice because we had like a tiny bit of experience, and everybody else in the class had zero experience. So we were automatically like the cool guys. we were like I had never climbed anything above like a V, maybe like a V3 or something, and then but we were still like beating everybody else. So it felt really great. It was like, yeah, we're crushing it.
Right.
But yeah, so it was like kind of a slow, well, like moderately slow introduction to it. But yeah, it's super fun. I like that it's like it's really difficult, but at the same time, like there's a lot. You can't just like do it right off the bat if you don't know what you're doing. Like you have to like learn how to do it. There's a lot of technique to it. There's a lot of like experience and like feel.
Yeah, I think the thing I like about it is it's like body intelligence.
Yeah.
Like it's like puzzles that you solve
kinesthetics? What's that?
Physically rather than mentally.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly and this can happen very often where you're trying to solve a boulder problem, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you get that stuck in your head. You get your original thought stuck in your head,
Right.
and then you can't break from it, or it messes you up, and then you need to kind of you need to almost go into it with no mind,
Right.
to use the Zen term, and see what happens, right? Just feel it out. I mean, that's what real way of putting it. Is just get up there and feel the rock, feel your body in the positioning, and that's very unique, I think, for a lot of sports. I mean, I'm sure it's true with every sport at a deep level.
Yeah,
but it's very particular with rock climbing.
Ultimately, with anything like that, it just turns into, can you feel it? Like, do you have the feel down for? Yeah, this thing's so sketchy that it's like you're just balancing water like a foot and a half on the ground.
Yeah.
But it's like the more you understand it, it doesn't feel like you're. Well, this is what I've been saying lately, or the way I've been thinking about it lately is like you can't intellectualize it too much. Like if you think about it too much and you're like, why is this hand exactly here? Like it all will make sense if you try and break down, what someone's doing to solve a problem. If you try and break it down as like, oh, well, then they do this so that their weight is shifted, or so they do this. But if you think about that too much, you're kind of missing it. Like you're not really going to be able to do it, because there's unintuitive ways where it's like, oh, you have to twist and do this and whatever. And so ultimately it just turns into, do you have the feel down for like, how would I do this problem? Oh, and then I turn my hips here and I reach up, or I twist around, or whatever it is.
Right. And that's true. It's not all feel either.
It's not all feel.
Because there are certain things that you have to learn in order to be able to do them, like locking off, where you're using your tension in your body, or like moving your hips in different ways to put pressure in different angles. Like there are certain times where it's like you just wouldn't be able to do it unless your hips are out, or unless you're activating your certain muscles.
Yeah, and that move will feel really unintuitive.
It'll just feel impossible, really.
But when you start off, you're not going to think do whatever maneuver. Right. And the more you do it, like
but also a lot of times you will realize it feels right. Like we were working on this one problem, if you remember. I'm sure you do.
Which one?
Meat and potatoes.
Oh yeah. Meat and potatoes.
Nine Corner Lake in the Adirondacks. And it's a traverse, meaning you move left to right, or you move across, I should say, horizontally across the rock. But you have your heel up on the rock, like in front of you, and you need to really activate your thigh muscles in order for that to hold you up. Otherwise, it's just kind of like your foot's up like it's on a lounge chair. Where really your foot needs to be up like you're squeezing like you're somebody's head into the floor.
Like you do with your hips.
Do when you're a bad guy in a cartoon. Yeah. But like you really have to activate the muscle as opposed to just having your heel in the air. Yeah. And that's something that like when you get it, you're like, oh, that's what I'm doing here. And then it's like,
and you're like, oh wow, all of a sudden I'm a foot higher than I thought I could be before, because I raised my hips, and so my whole center of gravity is different. I can use the holds
which is why I call it body intelligence, because now once I learned that, I learned it in my mind, right?
Right.
But it's really like I unlocked a capability of my body.
In your skill tree,
in my skill tree of my body, in order to know how to move that way and to be able to do it when be able to do it intuitively later on.
Well, I think that's like that's. Oh, dude, that looks good.
That's probably
that
ready.
Boiling water.
Can you hand me that shirt?
This?
Yeah. Just want something.
I'm gonna turn off the fire.
Yes, please.
Oh, that's the wrong way. Okay, we're good. No more fire. Good. Well, yeah. What I was gonna say is, I think that's. I can hold this for you. I think that pattern is pretty much just like what it feels like to learn stuff. Actually, dude, I wrote a blog post. I don't know, this is the only blog post I ever have written ever. I wrote it like a year and a half ago, probably. I don't know when I wrote it. No, it was like a year ago.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was basically about, what was it about? It was about something along these lines, where it's like, what does it feel like to have an idea, right? Ooh. And this kind of came out of spending time meditating and like getting an understanding for mindfulness and stuff. And I think maybe it was related to, because we were talking to Paul about, what's it called? About mindfulness. Well, maybe this was later, and I'm just connecting now. I'm going all over the place. Basically, the idea that when you pay attention to what it feels like to have an idea or to answer a question, that was the way I framed it. If you ask yourself a question and you come up with an answer, you're not doing anything in that intermediate space to get to that answer, right? You're just kind of like, what color's the sky? And it's like, blue. Your brain knows that. Yeah. And so it just jumps right to it. Right. And you're not privy to that process. Right. Like, it's not like you went like, is it red? Is it green? Is it...
Well, it's like, for example, like if you're thinking of some gift to buy somebody and you think, okay, he's a guy. What if I buy him a wallet? It's like, where did wallet come from? Yeah. Right? Why didn't you say belt, or why didn't you say shoes, or some other manly gift? Right? It's like you did
something you couldn't buy at
right?
JCPenney.
And you could say, well, I thought of a wallet because I thought of men, and men like wallets. That's kind of like a it's a common men gift.
It's a rationalization. That's a rationalization for why you said that.
Right, but really you don't understand why you thought of wallet as opposed to pint glass or whatever mainly gift.
Lounge chair.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's like,
or maybe you would think of lounge chair and you're like, I'm not gonna get a lounge chair. It's $50,000. It's like a really nice one. But then
it's like you think you came to this idea through a process, but really process is mostly hidden to you, mostly subconscious. And so connecting that back to the bouldering thing, it's like the process of learning. Let it go a little longer. A little longer?
Yeah, well, it's like barely in there, unfortunately. Well, let's set it back down. Yeah, it's okay. Well, you don't want to use too much water because then you're boiling a pot full to the brim, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically it's like you were making the connection that you learned how to do this move, and then it's like an unlocked, and now you can do it intuitively, and you it just shows up at the right time. And I think it's the same kind of thing where you work on you develop a skill, and then all of a sudden that skill has the ability to just pop out of nowhere, right? Yeah. Where you aren't doing the thing and like intellectualizing it and saying, now I need to do a heel hook and pull my hips in and lift up and pull and whatever. Right. You just get to this position and you go, I want to go up there, and then your body's like, I know how to do that. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the difference between learning by doing it versus learning, in a school setting where it's like, look at these flashcards and learn these things. It's like I'm not gonna have the flashcards when I'm in the situation. I'm gonna be thrown into a situation. I'm gonna have to react. I'm gonna have to come up with ideas out of somewhere. Right. How do I get them to be there when I need them? Mm-hmm. You have to you have to have that situation have happened already. Right.
Yeah.
So
your brain needs to do it by itself.
You're like, oh, last time I was here, blah blah blah. Yeah. Then it can be.
Yeah, it can just
awareness,
show up.
Have this activity or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that's the same. That's the same thing with any skill. That's how it feels to practice guitar. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You practice a thing and you're like, oh, this sucks. I hate my life. And then you do it a bunch, and then the next time, like you don't get anywhere for a while, and then eventually at some point you're like, oh, my hand knows how to play this. Ow. See, I just knocked a bunch of rock off this rock. All of a sudden, my hands know how to do this scale, or my hands know how to do that chord right when I tell it to, right? Or right when it needs to, rather. Not even when you tell it to.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's an interesting thing. I feel like we've. Yeah, sure.
What do you think
that's fine. That's
a little
fine.
longer, or I don't know.
I think I don't know.
You're the tea master.
I'm the tea master.
I mean, you could pour a little out and see how it actually looks.
I kind of want to like see how it's hot.
Yeah, it's probably freaking.
It's not too hot. It's like, that looks pretty good.
All right.
We don't need to be like. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting with tea is I was gonna say we don't need to be caffeinated, like super caffeinated, but apparently like the first like the first like 10% of a steep of tea is where like 90% of the caffeine comes from. So like steeping tea longer is like doesn't really add much caffeine. It's like a logarithm.
Oh,
Can
interesting.
you set this back down?
So it's like released at the very early stages of steeping?
Yeah, I don't really know the biology of it, but
Yeah.
it's something along those lines where it's like.
Cool. So what are we drinking here?
Oh, I don't even know. I think it's Chilanouyi. Yeah, it's
Sponsored.
Sponsored by
our first
Saratoga Tea and
sponsor
Honey
of the day.
Yeah. I'll email you.
Saratoga Tea and Honey. It's great.
Yeah, but no, it's a really good. I've had this bag for like 3 years now, probably. But it's really good. It's an oolong. I think it's Taiwanese. It might be Chinese.
Good stuff.
But it's spelled Q-I. What is it spelled? Yeah, Qilanwuyi. Qilanwuyi. So it looks like ki, but I guess it's like tsi. There's like a tss. I don't know. I heard that. I don't remember where I learned that, but I learned it when I was working at the tea shop. And it's pretty good tea. Nice. I haven't had it in a while. You both do it in the mic.
Yeah.
That's how we'll start the podcast. That'll be the sound. Welcome to the Martuscello Audio Show.
Welcome to the show. We're drinking tea on a rock somewhere.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing with regards to bouldering. And I think bouldering is a particularly good example of that process of like you learn it and then all of a sudden you can just do it. You just do it, right?
Right.
It's a very it ends up becoming very intuitive. Although it happens very slowly, where like you know,
like
improve,
most skills,
like pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it can be arduous at times, but
yeah. But it's
fun.
it's super fun to like
fun.
Feel yourself getting better at stuff like that. And it's a really satisfying sport in that way where it's like it's really hard. And so like when you eventually do something well, you're like, oh, that was great. That was like the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, plus there's a lot of work involved that doesn't necessarily pay off, like hiking in and bringing all this crap with you and buying gear.
You don't actually have to bring tea and the propane and all
when
that
it
stuff.
finally culminates into a successful send, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like a moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's
I did it, and then you get to go down, and you're like, today was a success.
Yeah.
The whole day. I don't care if I dropped my toothbrush or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it's a physical and a mental like reset of like, wow, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and like we were saying, it's like there's like this endorphin rush where you're like, yes, I would love to. Where like for a bit, especially if you're like especially outside, honestly, I feel like it's more intense outside.
Definitely.
Where you're on this real rock, it hurts a lot, and you're like, ow, I hate this rock a lot.
Yeah, funny that it hurting is like a benefit.
Yeah, it hurting,
like
it kind of helps because it's like when you eventually get through it, you're like, my hands, and like and especially if you're like going high up. You're like you're at the top and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to fucking go down.
Yeah, there's a lot of highball problems here, which are
ridiculous.
I think it's like above 15 feet or.
Yeah, I would say anything above 15 feet, I would call
considered highball.
I think people have different. Like some people only call things over like 20 feet.
I think Mountain Project said 15.
Oh,
above
really?
15 is.
I think that's accurate. I would do 15. I would do 20. Because
that's when you start getting really scared.
Yeah.
Below 15, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's stupid though. There's some like especially here, this is like a classic area, like a classic park where people do bouldering. And so the people who have like developed the problems here are crazy people who are insane and they've lost their minds.
No offense to any of them that are listening.
They're
Robert
insane.
Miramontes.
I will not. I have no caveats to give. Right? Like it's just ridiculous. True. There was a problem. I forgot what it was called. It was over by Cape Cod Point or whatever that's called. Remember the 30? It was like 35 feet. Cap Rock. Over by Cap Rock. I could look it up, but I don't want to. It was this ridiculous boulder. It was like 35 feet all the way up. It was something
nuts,
like that.
Yeah.
And it was graded to be like it's not that hard. I think it was a V3.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, which like we can do some V3s.
Yeah.
But it's a V3 that goes 30 feet in the air, right?
Right. Well, and we were just talking about how the grading is separate from the height. Mm-hmm. But the height is a very important factor.
The height is so important.
If you can't do it, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
If you fall from 30 feet, you will be injured.
Right.
Definitely.
It's like and part of that is you need to be able to try a lot if it's a high grade.
Yeah.
Whereas
I really don't even understand.
I can work on a V4 and get it eventually. Like one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done
one V4.
We've done one V4 outside.
You did two. I did one.
Yeah. Did I do two?
Yeah.
Oh, I did too.
You did too.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they're graded super hard here.
Yeah.
But anyway, you need to be able to work through it and try it over and over again and keep failing. But if the hard part in particular is at the top, you're gonna keep falling off the top.
Yeah.
And it's like you're risking life and limb every time you fall.
Yeah. People.
Even from 6 or 7 feet, it's dangerous to fall if you fall wrong.
Yeah,
or
if you fall wrong.
A rough bottom that's uneven.
Yep.
Or whatever, and it's like.
Yeah. No, I.
That's like. Yeah.
There is some like unbelievably dangerous climbing here, and it's like I'm not gonna do that. There's a really classic one called White Rastafarian, which is a great name. It's probably like it might be like the most famous boulder in the whole park.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably partially because of the name, but but partially because it's graded V2, right? So not like super hard.
Yeah,
like
V2. We can do most V2s.
Most V2s here. We can do over half of the V2s.
Yeah.
I don't know
like
about most.
I would say most of the V2s we've tried, we've completed.
Yeah, maybe. Or we just didn't like them, and so we didn't complete them.
Which is different, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like if we had kept working on it, we probably would have got it. It's just we weren't enjoying it, or we were ripping up our fingers or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I'd say that's like our limit as far as we can do most V2s. We can't do most V3s, and we definitely can't do most V4s.
Yeah, no,
right?
we can do very few
vanishes.
V4s. We can do some V3s, and then we could do over half of V2s.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's so depressing because in the gym, V2s are like, you can like fall asleep on them and you'll be all right. I mean,
you can take away half the holds.
It depends on the problem, but like
still doable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we normally play takeaway on the V2s. But anyway, there's this big, enormous problem. It's 23 feet high. It's a V2, and we haven't tried it because we're not dumb. But apparently, like the hardest part, the crux, is the top. It's like the second to last move. That's the problem that makes it a V2. The move that makes it a V2. The rest of it is like it's like a V0.
Right.
It's like so you climb up 20 feet, and then you have to do the hard part. Like no, I'm not gonna do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we've been pretty conservative with our choices of boulders.
Well, and it's like, if it matters where the hard part is. If the hard part's at the bottom, you can do it 30 times.
That's what we were just working.
And then get
on.
it, and then just finish the rest. You know, and then you're not scared.
And you'll be fine.
But yeah, besides all of this, what I was gonna get to is the danger of the height adds something.
Oh,
which
I
didn't really appreciate before here, which is like when you top out, basically certain routes, it's better to top out, in other words, to finish the route, than to fall back down and like, you know,
and just jump off when you get to the top.
So at some point it's like, I don't want to give up because it's scary, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd rather just do it.
Yeah.
But
it's so scary.
So like you're in this adrenaline mode of like, I have to finish this or I have to fall really far, right? It's that. That's your options.
Yeah, when especially if it's a difficult down climb or if you're just
So
sketched out
talk
or
about
tired.
motivation. It's like you're not just doing it for fun anymore.
Yeah.
You're doing it so you don't have to be so scared.
It's like you're
so you don't have
climbing
to be hurt.
up the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
It's like, you really want to get up the cliff because there's a cliff, you know.
Right, and your instincts kick in to be like, I'm hanging off the edge of a cliff and I shouldn't go down it, so I'm going to get up it.
Yeah.
And when that adrenaline rush, you can almost feel it, kicks in, and then you actually top out. You get like an extra boost of high.
and you're like, done it.
You're like, I survived certain death.
Yeah.
And it's so great. Not certain death, of course. Usually we're not climbing anything with that certain death.
No, you escaped certain possibly hurt my ankle. That's about what we're dealing with.
Right.
But it's like, I don't want to hurt my ankle. I use them every day, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So yeah, there's some crazy people who do this sport, and we're on the low end of that, I would say.
Yeah. We're
in like the bottom 20% of crazy, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Something
like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, we try to be cautious about it. Because, well, we were saying, right, we're out here to have fun. We went to this place where there's a bunch of V0s, and we're like, okay, we can do these. Mm-hmm. They're like 25 feet high with giant rocks and trees below them.
Yeah.
Sharp bushes and cactuses.
Yeah.
There's everything wants to kill you here. That's
everything. We haven't talked about the desert. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Well, we're here, but I mean, yeah. It's like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Even if I could and not get hurt, it's like,
the chance of getting hurt is
increase my chances unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Like
I don't stand on the edge of like, I don't know what my analogy was going to be there.
Which is funny that I say that because I was just explaining how the danger makes it more fun.
Well, but there's danger and then there's danger, right? There's danger of like, oh no, I might sprain my ankle. There's that danger, and then there's like, I might bust my clavicle.
Yeah.
You don't want to bust your clavicle, dude. You need
one of them is worse.
Once again.
Yeah.
So climbing is great. It's very humbling to climb here.
Yeah.
like we were saying with like how tough the grading is. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the desert.
Yeah, let's talk about the desert.
Desert is crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
We did this crazy hike a couple of days ago. We were trying to find the legendary Underground, which has some really cool rock and
this tea's really good.
And it's kind of a legend out here.
Yeah, it's like a climbing area that like it's hard to get to, and so like it's
not very popular.
But there's like
people don't usually
rock
go there.
The quality of the rock.
You gotta check it out. But anyway, we hiked. You gotta hike over a mountain to get there.
Behind a mountain,
and then behind the mountain, you get to this crazy landscape that's just filled with these undulating boulders. It's called Waltz Rock, if you want to look it up. It's ridiculous. And it's like this valley of just, like bubbling earth. And like there's boulders everywhere. And you can't even like...
And there's cactuses everywhere.
You want to navigate through this and we're like, oh, we just have to go right over there, and we can like see it in the distance.
Yeah, we're like, okay, so we'll have to walk across a valley.
Maybe it's like a half a mile or a mile tops.
Yeah, it was probably a half a mile, like as the crow flies, right? Like straight across. You're like, okay, we just got to go over there.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
It's like this little valley. It's probably like a shallow kind of dip.
Yeah,
and we'll get right over there. There's like probably a little pathway somewhere. No, it wasn't that. It was basically a series of big cliffs and piles of boulders you have to go up and down, like 4 or 5 like up and downs.
Yeah, it's like imagine you're an ant walking over a gravel driveway.
Like a small
it's
ant.
Like that, a small ant.
Like not like one of those big ones.
And big
like
gravel.
The little ones,
I mean, like
the little
the
red
chunky
ones.
gravel, not like the not stone dust. I'm talking like rocks.
The sharp ones too.
The really sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like walking through that.
And you're carrying these crash pads that we're sitting on our backs through
And
this, and there's
and like
cactuses
2
everywhere.
pounds of steak from last night's dinner.
Yeah.
We didn't need to bring, but it was good.
We had steak. It was ridiculous. And so basically we weren't at all prepared for this hike to be so annoying. We had been warned. Like we almost did this same exact hike like a couple weeks before. And the guy was like, it was like 10 a.m. And the guy we asked where it was, he was like, man, you really shouldn't go there right now. It's like it's too late to go.
Yeah, too late
and we
in
were
the
like, that's probably bullshit. But
Well,
whatever.
and I read in the book, the guy's like, oh, it should take you an hour if you know where you're going, or an hour and a half if you don't. It took us
Unless you get lost, he says.
Yeah.
Everybody gets lost. That's the
which
joke
we
of
got
the place.
lost like 5 times.
Yeah.
Not
Oh, it was
horribly,
ridiculous.
but like, just like, oh,
Are
we're
we-
on the trail. Oh, wait. No, we're not.
We're not on the trail anymore. Yeah, it was crazy. And so the takeaway from that was just like how different, like that
the
whole hike,
landscape. I
the
mean,
landscape is so different in the desert here.
crazy. It's crazy.
Like in the Adirondacks, you do a hike, you can't see anything because there's just trees, and that's kind of okay. You know, you go up the mountain, you going up Giant or something. Is that Giant?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say Big Bear. That's wrong.
Big Bear. That's not in
Is
the
your phone doing
Adirondacks.
No, never mind. Sorry. So you go up the hike, and you're just basically like walking uphill in the woods for 90% of the hike,
Yeah.
and that's what hiking is.
Yeah.
In the east.
Hiking in the east is pretty straightforward. It's
Yeah.
not. There's not a lot of curveballs. The ground.
Sometimes it depends on. I mean, it depends on the mountain.
That's true.
We haven't done like a lot of crazy
Yeah,
hiking.
we're not
so.
like we're not like the most experienced hikers. Like, but
We've done a lot of like pretty easy hikes.
well, and
we've done
and
a
to
lot.
be
We've got a lot
fair,
of miles in.
to be fair, this is alien to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For some people,
they'd
regular.
go out east and be like, "Oh, there's rocks."
I
and
can't see anything.
Some
'cause
places
there's trees.
there's moss or what. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I miss moss. But anyway, the point is, which is funny because it's not like I see moss in the winter anyways. Like like
Right. I feel like I miss moss every winter though.
yeah, maybe I do. I don't know if I've thought of it before.
That's
Well,
why
it's
you
so
get sad
apparent-
in the winter.
it's so
Is because
apparent
you miss
why
things like
there's-
moss.
Yeah, but here it's like you get why. Like there couldn't be moss here. Moss is the most like wet, like soggy, like comfy kind of plant. I feel like moss and ferns, they're like fuzzy. They're like you could like. I mean, unless they're like poisonous or something. I don't know if there's probably some kind of spiky moss somewhere, but. All the moss I've ever interacted with is like comfy, like pet it. You're like, oh, it's like a little cat or something.
Yeah, nothing that you don't want to pet anything here.
No, don't touch
Don't
plants.
pet the
in Southern
ground.
California.
Don't pet the dirt. Don't pet the rocks.
I walked
Don't
over.
pet
yeah.
the trees. They all hate you. And the one word I would use to describe this place in the ecological sense is survival. Because like
You can feel it.
You can feel it. All of the animals and plants are just like
Holding on.
yeah, they're like they got their niche and they're like back off because I gotta
Yeah.
do my thing here
Yeah.
and
Yeah. If I lose
I'm
if I
hanging
lose
on.
an ounce of water, I will perish and my
Yeah.
progeny will never exist. You
well,
know?
and you see it all over. You're like, there's all these dead plants too, and you're like, oh, that guy didn't make it.
even the healthiest plants look dead.
Yeah.
Like the healthiest plant, you're like,
Right.
dang, he's had a rough year.
Yeah.
And this is like the comfy season. This is the rainy season.
Yeah, this is the cool season, and it's
I don't know if you can even call it.
yeah, it's not. I think it's kind of just like it
We've had
rains like barely all year, but it's definitely the cool season.
yeah. So at least stuff isn't like getting burned literally.
Right. Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
can't
Just
imagine
looking
this
around
in
is so
the
much.
summer.
You probably can't see it on the camera. There's just like a bunch of trees over here that just like burned. They just like
crumbled.
It's crazy. It's like, it's so hostile.
Like we couldn't take it.
It's amazing. So I really, but the other thing is the trees in general. So that's what I was saying with the hiking.
Yeah.
Where it's like when you hike.
Maybe I'll do a little panorama while you're talking. Just,
That'd be good.
Camera.
Yeah.
You know, might as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'll get both, and then I get both mics. So, but the thing that amazed me, so we went to Big Bear, which is a mountain nearby where we went skiing for a day. And we went over there, and there's like actually like pine trees there. There's like coniferous trees. And out here, obviously, there aren't trees, right? There's pretty much no trees. These Joshua trees, they're weird. They're not like regular, like trees that we have out east, where it's like a stalk and then like a big fuzzy pom-pom on top. They're like weird. They're so, I mean, you can see them. You get the idea. But basically, we went to Big Bear, and there were pine trees everywhere, and I didn't realize how much I missed trees. Like, I realized as we were driving, it's like when you have trees all around you, it feels like you're being hugged by the environment, right? By the just by the ecology. You know, you're like enclosed. It's kind of comforting. You can't see too far. Here, I can see like 4 miles all the time. You're so exposed. I feel like a bug on top of a car. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things, especially like at the Airbnb we're staying at. You can see for miles. We look at our window. We can see for miles in every direction almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's beautiful. The sunrises, the sunsets.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
The sky, it's amazing. But it's also, it's kind of disconcerting because you're so exposed. I think it's like a reaction thing where you're like...
Right. We're not used to it.
In the East, there's trees everywhere. That's why we're so into views. Out east. It's like, oh look, you climb this mountain and there's a view.
Yeah, I can see over 100 feet away from me.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Here, everywhere you hike, there's a view because there's nothing in the way.
You could just stand on top of the hood of your car and you have a view. Like,
you don't even need to.
You don't even
can
need
just
to. You don't
stand there. You can lay on the ground and there's a view. You know, it's like, it's like there's rocks in the way and mountains, but like, you know, when it's flat, you can just keep looking.
Yeah. Well, and we determine that from like the front of our Airbnb, we can see like 20 miles.
Yeah.
Like the hills that you're looking at, they're like way off in the distance. The sun rises over them. They're like 20 miles away. Yeah. It's like I don't know if I've ever seen 20 miles. Unless I'm on top of a mountain, you know, before or in a plane, you know, it's crazy.
Well, yeah. You know, from our house, how far can we see? You know.
I don't know, like
hundreds of feet,
a couple hundred feet, you know, and then it's like there's the next house, and there's the
forest,
tree.
You know.
Yeah.
But even like looking into a forest, like how I wonder how far you can see into a forest. Like obviously it's a factor of the density and the thickness of trees and a lot of things. But that'd be an interesting metric.
Well, you can do the same thing with I wonder if that is a thing. It's like the distance in a forest. Where you could like extend a line before it hits a tree, like the maximum. Yeah. Because that would be another way to put it.
Yeah. Well, obviously there'd always be a sliver to sky, right?
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah, not necessarily.
No. Not necessarily.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it is when you're in the forest and
usually
you can't see the sun. Like when there's a sunset and like you're hiking down a mountain or something and you can't see the sun anymore. I mean, there's leaves there too. So leaves make it, it's not quite like that simple, just like sticks everywhere. Yeah. But I've thought about this.
You could model it statistically.
I've thought about this I've thought about when you drive down the highway, like when you're driving up the Northway and the sun is setting in the west. Mm-hmm. And like there are certain times when you can see the sun going like beep, beep, beep,
it like shoots lasers at you.
Yeah, and even if it like looks all like shadowy here, you can still like see the sun hit you. You know, like, beep, 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 beep. And then
it's not a hard shadow. It's almost like a
it's like fuzzy
shadow, a light shadow.
You can tell it's like that's like pretty much direct sunlight I'm getting. Like through little like pinpoints.
Right.
And then other times like it goes a little farther or you go into a different part where the forest is thicker and it's like I can't see the sun now. It's like there's a mountain there. Like it's it's not, and so it's like there's gonna be there's that transition of like I can see the little blip blip blip. No, it's just the sky is bright.
I missed that.
There's probably some. I missed that.
You just described that, and I was like, sun filtering through trees.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah,
I definitely miss the environment of the Northeast.
Yeah.
Like out here, it's
yet I'm gonna miss this because this is like.
Yeah. We're gonna get back and be like, where? I can't see anything. Like,
well, and we're almost used to it by now, but the rocks out here are just mind-boggling at every turn.
Yeah,
like we went to Arches National Park on the way here.
Yeah,
that was some of the craziest things we've seen in our lives. We both agreed, and then this is like. It's not as good as Arches in some way. It's a little
ways.
like less dense of awe-inspiring. It's like the awe is spread out.
We had like one particular view in Arches that was like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to top that view anywhere in the world unless I go to space or something.
Yeah, because it was so.
Because it was like
varied.
It was like you see Arches, you see the mountains, you see the things, you see this. Where it was like everything in view was like there was so much variation there.
Yeah.
Whereas here there's definitely there's a fair amount of variation in the park here, but a lot of it is like massive pile of rocks that have started to crumble. Massive pile there's just a ton of massive piles of rocks that have turned into boulders over time, and it's like that's insane.
Right,
you know?
Right.
But it's less varied here, I would say, at Joshua Tree. But
yeah, it's just like we've gotten used to seeing amazing rocks. And like just so exposed, it's just great. It's just great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I miss that. All right, to continue our theme of beverages.
Yes, beverages.
Let's break out the bevs.
Bevies.
We got.
So we
you
have.
Want to explain?
Yeah. So basically, we came out here and we bought beer.
We are
because you gotta buy some beer.
Today's podcast sponsored by Elysium Brewing.
Oh, and Stone Brewing and Saratoga Tea and Honey.
Yeah, so I'm drinking, I just got a beer of my own. It's a lager. Stone Brewing, really good IPAs and lagers and everything. I'm drinking a Buena
We're not
Vesa.
actually sponsored or anything.
I'm drinking a Buena Vesa salt and lime lager. So it's like kind of like a Corona if you added salt and lime in the brewing process.
And if it was, it's better than the Corona.
Yeah.
I like it a lot better.
And it's better quality, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that's good. Stone we've been drinking a lot of that stuff. I think they're from San Diego, so we're only like, because we're like 2 hours. Oh, I don't. I could do it with my keychain.
There you go.
That's kind of.
We got the master.
Let's see if I can
open my bottle. Beautiful.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this is aluminum, so you can see the scratches from all the times I've done this. You can see the aluminum's come off on this.
We'll have a picture of that on our website.
Great. Yeah, we'll have a picture of that.
Close up.
No, we'll just put it in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so Stone is from
show notes.
Stone is from San Diego, which is like 3 hours away, and then this place, honestly,
it's from Seattle.
This is from Seattle. Honestly, I don't really like these beers that much, but they had a recommendation. I got like a variety pack of pale ales, where there were like 2 IPAs and this blood orange pale ale, and they had a recommendation on the side of the box to make the Elysian, what do they call it? Fuzz Duster.
Yeah.
Because what you do is you combine the Elysian Super Fuzz, which is a pale ale, and you combine it with the Space Dust IPA. So it's the Super Fuzz and the Space Dust make the Fuzz Duster.
Mixing beers here.
So we're mixing beers on the recommendation of the brewers. So yeah, I wanted to do that, and I hadn't done it yet. I saved it for the podcast.
If you know anybody who works for Elysian, let them know.
Tell them to make their beers a little better. I'm really being a little mean to them. Like they're pretty good.
They're pretty good. I think they're better than.
I just don't love them.
They're better than the beers in Palm Springs.
Yeah,
those were
Palm Springs.
Kind of gross.
Let's not talk about Palm Springs. Palm Springs.
Good idea.
Is kind of crappy.
Don't go to Palm Springs.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Go to Yucca Valley.
Or if you do go to Palm Springs, go to
cool.
the. Oh, it's a little too much phone there. Go to the coffee shop we went to.
Yeah, there's a coffee shop called Cartel.
Yeah, who's based out of Arizona, so we're gonna go to them again in Arizona.
Yeah.
maybe we'll give like a brief overview of our like where we're going next in our trip. This is a lot of beer.
I don't know if it's worth it.
Okay.
Because
nobody cares.
Nobody
Whatever.
really cares.
We're here.
We're here in a cool place talking about.
Dude, this is like really
stuff.
foamed up. But this jar is actually like the perfect size for it.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Dude,
that's a beautiful thing.
This is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's what are these?
It's half bubble.
One of them is a
wow.
One of
this is okay. I'm gonna take a picture with your phone.
One of them, go ahead. One of them's a blood orange IPA. That's the Super Fuzz.
Yeah.
Blood orange.
Dude,
blood
this
orange
does
pale.
Look amazing. There's like
and
sediment
then a space
in it.
dust.
Oh my gosh.
Which has additions of Citra and Amarillo.
This will be in the show notes too.
So we got some
wow,
citrus
that is
pale
beautiful.
ales with some Amarillo IPAs. You gotta mix that up. You get some
That's
special.
Great.
I guess.
Yeah. So.
But beer mixing.
I'm gonna have to wait like 20 minutes for the bubbles to settle because it's a half. Bubble.
Just drink them. Oh, we gotta get that on camera. that's a beautiful
wow, dude,
sound.
that tastes like something crazy. I don't know. Oh, jeez. This is more bubbles than I bargained
Blow
for.
the foam off the cliff.
Yeah, maybe
to
I
the
will
breeze.
actually.
Do it.
Is that okay for the environment?
Don't fall. Just don't fall. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was pretty successful. That got rid of like
Yeah.
a cubic something of foam.
Yeah. Very nice.
That's pretty good. It's
Cheers.
pretty. Yeah, cheers. And cheers to you all at
Cheers to
home
you all at home.
or wherever you get your podcasts.
On the go.
On the go.
In
Well,
the
it's not
car.
like we're gonna post this on.
Who knows?
Spotify or anything.
We might not post it anywhere. We might just
We'll see.
watch it again ourselves
And critique it.
and smile because we're
Probably
so
won't.
great.
Probably won't even do that.
No. I've tried watching some of our podcasts over again, and it's not
It's
very
weird.
pleasant.
I'm like, shut up, guy.
Yeah, it's like looking at pictures of yourself. You're always like, that's kind of a good picture, and then the next one you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel, at least. Maybe.
I feel
maybe
like
some people are
I would.
I mean, females are obviously like super into taking pictures and looking at them themselves. So
I don't know if that's specifically.
well, yeah, maybe not specifically.
I don't know. I like. Oh man,
But,
this
you
is
know,
pretty good. This is the best beer I've had.
Dude, that'd be an interesting question. Like, ratio of selfies by women versus men.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I feel like
I'm not saying selfies
I take a
are,
lot of selfies.
Yeah,
I take a lot of selfies.
I'm not saying they're.
I think
they're
they've-
only
I feel like they've-
male, but like I think, or.
Yeah.
But
I
would think that.
I think when they started. Well, I don't know.
Women take so many selfies.
I think women tend to take more pictures in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
It's true.
This
is the part of the show where we talk about gender norms
and
how they are true and good. Just kidding.
Yeah. We're gonna be taken off of Facebook
Yeah.
Live for that.
Our videos always get demonetized for this. I should really shut up.
Yeah. I know we're gonna lose our sponsor, Elysian Superfuzz.
I'm sorry.
This is actually the best beer I've had from
that.
them.
Let me try that mixture.
Careful, don't drop. It's a big ass jar.
Oh man, it's over everything.
Oh no, it's dribbling down the 20-foot cliff. Wow, that's like minty somehow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Considering
it's two beers.
Considering it's two beers combined. I don't know. I
Not
don't
something
remember
you
which one of
typically
these I
think would be
liked
good.
or if I did. So,
But
I like this. I'm enjoying this more than any of the other ones.
I like that idea though because it's like something new. It's like, hey, why not?
Yeah, it's like combine some stuff.
It brings me back to the days at Old Country Buffet when we used to mix all the fountain drinks together.
Oh wow!
And somehow they would all taste like bubble gum. Or that's what we told ourselves, at least.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
They probably didn't. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
We were going to talk about the thing everybody's talking about.
And the thing, this is buzz.
NFTs.
The Metaverse.
NFTs and the Metaverse, everybody. So now we get into, this is more like an actual podcast topic. So far we've just been talking. Now we're going to talk about some heavy-hitting now we have a topic, basically.
Topic. That's
yeah.
done.
We've crossed over. Okay, so where to begin with the Metaverse? I guess let's frame it as like, what are people saying about this, right? Because that's like the background of like, this is where it is within our culture, right? Everybody's talking about the future is the Web 3, right? Web 3.0 that's going to be the next iteration of the internet.
Right.
And we're going to be in this new place.
To set the scene a little bit, it all starts around last March, roughly.
I thought you were going to say like, it all starts in 1996 when Tim Berners-Lee, whatever.
Yeah, let's go back
let's go back. So what is the internet? Well, it's a protocol for whatever. Go on.
Yeah.
Anyway, March.
You have a little bit of foam on your eyeglasses there.
Good to know. Thanks.
But yeah, so it's last March, the idea of NFTs became popular. That stands for non-fungible tokens. And
I knew about them before then.
Yeah, right.
I don't know when I learned
Yeah, no, I think we probably did. But, that's when they really blew up in the media was when a certain artist by the name of Beeple sold a digital piece of art for $69 million.
Yep.
Which is bonkers, right?
Yeah.
For any art. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how much art goes for, but
not that much.
I would say that's success, however you define it.
Yeah, you get $69 million for pretty much anything. You've been successful at that thing.
Yeah.
Unless it's like...
Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
That's pretty, I would agree. So that kind of blew up this idea of selling digital things. And everybody said, wait, selling digital things, but you can just download them or pirate them or copy them or,
right.
Like, obviously,
it's kind of antithetical to how we've thought of digital things so far, where it's just like, well, it's a thing and I can just download it and then we both have it. And it's not like there's only one that we can have, but there's basically the innovation in technology that is allowed this to happen is, well, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just saying, like, we've been able to buy things digitally, right?
Yes.
Like music and movies online, but usually you don't own them. You own a license to them. If you buy a song on iTunes or if you buy a movie on Amazon, you don't own the movie. You own, even if you buy a disc, you don't actually own, if you buy a Blu-ray, you don't actually own that movie.
Right.
You own a license to watch that movie in certain contexts.
You own a license to basically use that disc to watch that movie.
Right.
Which is why you can't.
Well, in certain contexts, though. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
You can't
broadcast it on a wall in front of Times Square.
Yeah, for like personal use.
Yeah.
For non-public. Right.
Private
use.
So that's how the legal situation works. And basically, the crazy thing about NFTs is they are purported to allow you to own digital single objects, right? So I would own a piece of art, and that's the only piece of art that there is, right?
Well,
so even if you made a copy of that piece of art, right, if you copied the file, I would have some kind of digital certificate, that's how I think about it, saying that I own this art.
Right. And you have that, so you can prove I really own this art.
Right.
And
if
you
just have a copy.
You just have a copy of it, exactly. So it's a weird idea because it's kind of like you're rolling back the concept of digital assets being so easy to transfer, right? Like
Well, okay. I mean, I don't think we're going to try to explain the full
Okay, sure.
nuts and bolts of it,
there's
because
a lot of crap.
Because I think we want to get into the discussion of it, of what we think. But the bottom line is, it's a digital certificate that says, I own this art that this guy made, and I'm the only one who owns it, and therefore I can sell it to somebody else, and then they will own it.
Right.
Right? And so up to this point, we've never had a way to do that.
Right.
And blockchains are allowing this to happen.
Right.
So
basically, because you can keep track of who has bought what, and it's verifiable.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
In some sense. So and this is obviously tied in very, very tightly to cryptocurrency. So that's basically the technology that spawned the idea of NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a way to basically NFTs are one of the initial use cases of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, of blockchain.
Of the blockchain,
really,
right.
Is really more appropriate.
Yeah.
Because cryptocurrency is an application of blockchain,
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
are
That's
NFTs.
True. Right.
And so are DApps and DAOs and all these different constructions that you could build on top of a blockchain.
Right.
The question is, what's the
going
future?
on?
What's going to happen? Right? Of course, speculation. Right. And that's what the world of tech in a lot of ways is all about, is like,
right. What's the next big
thing? Where are we going? Moore's law is dead. What's the next Moore's law?
Is it actually dead?
I've heard people say,
I think it might.
I heard one guy who was a neuroscientist saying that brain technology, studying the brain, is going to allow us to unlock the next Moore's law. In other words, there's so many secrets locked in how the brain's laid out,
right? That you'll have another
as we study
growth.
It's going to give us exponential increases in AI processing.
I don't agree, but I'm not a neuroscientist, so
I mean, he was obviously biased and just speculating himself. So
I don't know. There's a lot of neuroscience is a complicated bunch of crap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to make it sound cooler than it is, or sound more efficacious. Is efficacious a word?
Yeah.
Sound more efficacious than it is.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Right.
I mean, I know a lot less about neuroscience than I do about NFTs, but
yeah, I'm probably similar on both of them. Meaning, I don't really know that much about either of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just talk about what you think is going to happen, because that's fun, right?
Yeah. That's the fun part.
I think. Well, you go first.
Okay. I think right now, we have NFTs are like this crazy, super volatile market of people making stuff and selling it and moving it around and making claims about it. And I think it's clearly a bubble, right? It's clearly this.
Yes.
There's this frenzy of activity, and it's just going to increase and increase. And at a certain point, it's gonna either. Well, it's definitely going to pop at some point, I think, because obviously it can't just go on for all time, right? It's a matter of where it goes once it does pop. I think NFTs will probably be around forever, right? It's never going to be just wow, that was completely dumb. But I think in their current form, they're not going to. It's not going to make sense to have them how they are right now, right?
Yeah,
where,
I would agree.
You have just a ton of people spewing out art that's of varying quality, right? There's a humongous variation in quality. I've seen some generative art and some other art that's really amazing that's being sold as NFTs, and it's some mind-blowing stuff. And you're like, I'm so excited about this. That's so cool. Right. I wish I could own that, right?
Yeah.
And yet you also have garbage.
Right.
There's a ton of garbage.
Yeah.
And it's it's just clearly a bunch of noise is happening. And I think a lot of it is way overblown.
Right.
And this is partially these are partially new new ways of thinking about it that we've talked about it before, where it's, I don't know. I think it's largely a hype machine, and it's not going to continue super long.
Sure. Yeah, I would say I agree with most of that. I think NFTs, they're currently being used as an art market, primarily.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this. As a typical consumer, we do not participate in the art market as it exists in the physical world.
Right.
We don't really buy expensive art.
I've never been to an art auction. And I don't know anyone who has been. And pretty much, I don't think.
And I think there's two ways to look at it in the real world. The way the art market currently works is there's consumer art, which is like a reasonable price range, and then there are artists
who are selling. There are artists who are selling their work, who are like, I want to make $200 off this painting because I spent however much time on it, and then this is what it's worth, and I'm going to put it in a coffee shop,
or even thousands of dollars for large pieces.
Yeah, however much is
for popular pieces,
right?
And that's in the range of
what I could humanly buy.
Well,
it's a product. That's a good way to put it.
It's functioning as a product where I made a thing, you want the thing, you buy the thing. Now you have the thing to enjoy.
Right.
But then there's
the
this other
market.
market.
To sustain their life with that.
Right. They get compensated.
Right.
For their contribution.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's this other market of high level art, which is on this totally different plane where it's used as a status symbol.
Right.
And it's used as an investment.
Yeah.
Right. Those two things. And so there's a distinction there. I think the NFT scenario is only supplying the second one. It's only supplying art as investment or status symbol. It's not supplying art as reasonable purchase to show in your house. Right?
Which is what,
because if I had a digital house,
this is the use case that is typically described as like you're buying this digital art, this NFT, so that you can put it somewhere in digital space
to show it off,
or just maybe just
decorate.
to admire it. Just so you have it.
Yeah. Well, presumably it's for you and other people to enjoy its aesthetic value in that space, in this digital metaverse or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It could be just on your Instagram page in your NFTs section, and people can go there and see it. But see, that's even blending into status symbol level, where it's like you have it to show off, right? And you're starting to lose the aesthetic purpose of the art.
Right.
And I think.
Go on.
I think that's part of the main problem with NFTs is that they're not anywhere. They're not anywhere that people are ever going to see them, right?
Yeah, at least in the current right now.
Right.
Yes.
If we had a metaverse right now, then maybe people would be showing them off. But people are buying them for the use case that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. If we had a different
they're
metaverse.
speculating on a future in which we have a digital house where you can put up digital art and to show off to your friends. And that current universe doesn't exist. So the only thing that's happening with them is monetary and financial speculation around them.
Yeah.
So like you're only getting this one use case of them. You're not even touching. Nobody has a digial house, other than like a few small niche cases, which are silly. Well, I don't want to disregard them outright, but
I think it's like people are buying them as status symbols and as identifiers.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now I'm a person who owns this NFT and that says this about me because this NFT is purported to be about this, right?
I just took a sip of my microphone.
And we just
lost
fully
the
lost
sun.
the sun, pretty much.
Farewell.
The sun.
Can you hand me my jacket?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's another feature of the desert is
It gets cold.
it gets cold. Like the sun is like most of the warmth. So as soon as the sun goes away, you're like, oh, I'm cold. Yeah, we're gonna have to be careful climbing back down here with these beers in us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm drinking more beer than you are, so. Okay, so.
So my only point is, I think the speculative side of art is going to continue in NFTs, but it's a giant bubble and it's going to pop.
Right.
And most things aren't going to be worth anything.
Right.
But like CryptoPunks will probably always be worth money.
Yeah.
You know, like the big ones,
The really big ones.
things that are
Bored Ape,
recognizable.
maybe. Yeah.
They're always
Bored Ape,
going to be
definitely.
status symbols.
Yeah.
Because they were a status symbol at one point.
Yeah.
It's like if you owned a Ferrari in 1950, it's not like, you know, oh, that was from that's old.
Yeah.
It's not as
Yeah,
cool.
those
it's like,
will
no, it might
retain
be
value
even cooler,
for
you know?
for their own reasons.
Right. And that's why we
But
have this
I
giant
think-
bubble, is because people want to get in on that you know, long-term value.
Right.
But I think what has yet to be proven is, will we have is there any other purpose of NFTs?
Right. Well,
Or should I say, is there a place for NFTs in consumer art? And I think the answer is no.
because I'm more
of
and more
digital
thinking that way.
replicability.
Yeah.
You can just, you know, have a million nice pieces of art in digital space
I don't know. I have a hard time with this because,
for free right now.
like, it might become a setting where you can where a regular artist, right, who just like is a regular person, can sell their art and be like, this is the price. It's 0.04 ETH or 0.3 ETH or whatever it is, and it, you know, I want to sell it for this, whatever.
Sure,
But
I can see that in terms of you want to support the artist, so you
Right.
buy their content digitally,
And you have
then
it as an NFT,
rather
right.
than just using a copy that you stole
Right.
from
Well, 'cause, I mean,
DeviantArt or whatever.
already
You
people-
want to contribute to them.
but already
that's fair enough. But you're paying the artist as opposed to buying the
Oh yeah.
buying
Yeah,
the,
it's a totally
the
different
product. Right?
It's a totally different impetus for why am I buying this art, right? Because currently most of the NFT space is taken up with, I'm buying this and I'm aware of the value fluctuations. You're explicitly thinking about the value fluctuations, where it's like, I'm going to buy this thing and I hope it goes up, right? I hope the price of it goes up.
That's why I'm saying right now it's only the speculative market. There's no consumer market for NFTs.
Well, and because that's not at all.
You know,
That's not at all
according
why.
to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's based on everything you've looked at.
Based on everything
I think
I've
that's reasonable. I think.
So I would say if you're an artist out there, you're not missing out.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I for a bit I thought maybe.
Yeah.
I thought that was well, no, honestly. No. NFTs are no.
Yeah.
You're not missing out.
No.
Because if somebody wants to buy your print. Buy a print of your art or buy a digital copy of your art or buy something, I guess it's all digital, right? So if they want to buy a digital copy of your art, they can just do that and they can just pay you.
Well,
and
yeah,
if they're
and-
interested in supporting your art, they can just Venmo you, right? Last time I bought a painting, I bought a couple like paintings last year where I was like, I bought a print of some dude's work and my friend made me a thing. And it was like, I just Venmo'd them because...
Yeah.
And obviously that only works at a certain scale, right? Where like you can't do that if you're selling hundreds of prints a month or something like that. But it's like you can just pay them for their service, right? And there's no actual. This is what I've been thinking about, or what we've been talking about more lately, where it's like, what is the blockchain actually contributing to this situation? Right? It's contributing. I definitely own this art, and I guess that in a digital place, that's. I don't know.
Well,
I have a hard time wrapping my mind around my previous purchases of actual pieces of art, right? I mean, I haven't bought that much art, but I've bought a couple things, right? Mm-hmm. And they're physical things.
Right.
I don't think I've paid any money for digital art. But trying to translate that into a digital space, I'm like, I still would just Venmo the artist and be like, I don't know. Like there's not, because how much am I really gonna use my
Right. Well, here's the thing. Guess what? If you don't care about having the NFT and you only care about supporting the artist and having a copy of the JPEG,
right,
then you're not going to use the blockchain. You're just going to Venmo the artist, and they're going to send you a JPEG through the email.
Because when I buy a piece of art and put it on my wall, I don't need... I guess there's a built-in verification that I own that art, but there's not that much verification because I could have just stole it off the internet and printed it, right? And then it's the same kind of a thing where like I'm not buying the art because I want a verification. I want everybody to know I bought this cool painting of it, whatever. It's like, no, I just want the painting of the stuff. And if I care about the artist, then I will do it myself where I'll pay the artist. Right. So it's almost there's almost an inherent quality of within NFTs. It's if you're doing it specifically within NFT, if you're purchasing the art, you're doing it so that you can show it off to people, and so it has that status symbol quality, and that is going to affect the market in general. Yeah.
Well, and that's fine, even on a small scale. Like if you're like, like there's nothing wrong with
there's nothing wrong with
status symbols. I think they're good. They're ways of communicating.
But they're a very different. It's a totally different market, and it's a totally different set of incentives for why you're buying things.
Right.
And then you get into the resale and the. And then if the price is moving around of these things, then there's a whole other layer of you're going to resell it and I'm going to make money on this, or I'm going to lose money or whatever. Right. And so then there's a whole different set of goals that the buyer is going to incur. Mm-hmm. And that's totally absent from the vast majority of artists selling their work, right? When most people buy art, you want the art and you're going to keep the art, and you're not interested in I buy the art and then a week later it's worth $300 more and I sell it again and then make money and then I do it's like that's a very niche
use case, and that's the main use case of NFTs at this current time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there are people who were hodl and they don't want to, and the idea is I'm not going to sell it.
Right, but that's still with the purpose of selling it eventually. It's not because they love it and they want to keep it.
Exactly. I'm not hodling my fucking art that I bought for my friend. So I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I'm going to have this. I'm going to keep it an investment. Act like I don't own it.
Yeah.
So at some point it's going to be worth a ton.
It's clearly a different thing.
It's totally different. Totally different reason for buying it.
So where's the metaverse going? That's the question that is begged. It's like,
I think it's going nowhere. I mean, really, I don't know, because we've been talking about it a lot lately, and I've been thinking about it, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be anything like what it's being hyped up to be.
Yeah, I think that's correct. But I also think there's
such an excess of hype. There's so much you're going to be able to sell items and cross-platform sales and It's like
it's like that term, the saying, people always overestimate the next 5 years and underestimate the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And basically what I think is they're thinking it's going to be some big drop where Facebook or Meta releases Horizons, and it's this new platform where we all hang out in digital space, and then it's the metaverse. Now we're here in digital world, and it's like that's not going to happen. Not in a revolutionary type of way. But I think companies are making moves, and society is making moves just by the use of technology that are pushing us more into digital spaces.
Right.
And what I think the use case in the metaverse that I'm excited about is when we're all going to be we're going to have the option to hang out digitally and have it not suck.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this forever, which is how does Skype still suck at loading and buffering?
Yeah.
Like
I still can't hear you on Skype.
When Skype came out, it was like pretty good.
Like I could talk to you.
And and like it's still about that good. Like it's slightly better. And part of that is bandwidth in the US and how we don't all have fiber yet because no good reason. You know, it's like we should all have super blazing internet for innovation to happen. But the point is, I enjoy video chats. I enjoy hanging out with people virtually.
Well,
I've done piano lessons virtually. I've had I've had parties virtually.
You've had a job
virtually. I've done an open mic virtually. I've had a job virtually.
Yeah.
It's like,
we've both
I want that to be better.
Yeah.
I want it to be as good as it can get. And I think that's what the metaverse is going to be. It's going to be...
Well, that's what I would hope it to be.
Well, that's...
But it's
as far as I care about it, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Right.
Is I want all these things to be better, and that's what I'm looking forward to, right? It's like I want to be able to hang out with you across the US and, you know, invite Paul over and invite Nate in Phoenix and invite you know, anybody, you know, Jordan in Italy or wherever he is, you know, like you know, and it's like that would be cool because we can do that. It's just not that good right now.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, can you hear me? Oh, you're breaking up.
That's partially an artifact of our Airbnb having bad internet.
Well, or even at home that happens.
But
like,
exactly.
The audio's crappy and like I can't really...
You're cutting out.
Where are you? Are you in a forest? It's like, no, I'm in my bedroom, but there's a, you know. It's like
there's so many compression artifacts.
I think
it
would
leaves.
be really cool if we can hang out in a in a virtual space and feel like we're there together and have this kind of a conversation, you know, without having to be here, right? I don't think it's at all going to replace face-to-face or physical contact or, you know, accessibility of being around the corner from somebody, but it's
well, but it'll get you closer to that.
It's going to be better than not having it,
right.
And I think it'll enable new things, which is cool.
Yeah, I think. But this kind of brings us to I want to get a better I want to describe my definition of the metaverse, because I think it's a nonsense term right now where it's like when the metaverse happens, it's like the metaverse is not a future thing.
It exists right now.
Yeah, we're here. If anyone is watching this, then they're watching it. You're in the metaverse. We're in your metaverse,
with you
dude.
Here.
And it's like, you know, you're gonna like going on Facebook is entering the metaverse.
Right.
Calling your friend, even on the phone, even just voice call, like good old beep boop beep.
Definitely.
Is the metaverse, right? It's all just iterations of it, of connecting things that are not connected typically.
Yeah.
And that's like the most broad. That's like, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, we could keep going out, but it's like yeah, I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say. But you can think of it in that way where it's like, you know, it's just a continuation of communication.
Right.
And
it's just real life, but kind of
the reason we think it's a new thing, oh, the metaverse is coming out soon, is because we're conditioned to view everything as a product, and Facebook is the god who has announced their intention to create this metaverse product, and
we will
bequeath this upon you, and you will have the privilege of joining the ranks of those who can communicate digitally.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, partially that's really messed up because it's like, they're so in control of us that they dictate, like how many people are talking about the metaverse, and just because Facebook said
everyone
we're gonna make a metaverse.
That's why the term has gotten big again.
Yeah,
right? I think it was like a little bit around. Like last summer, it was like, maybe we'll call Web3 stuff the metaverse because Neil Stephenson said it.
Because Meta used it as their name.
No,
right?
but I mean before that, it's like maybe some people were referring.
That's why they used it, is because they're like, oh, people are talking about the metaverse. Let's make that our brand.
Let's take that. Let's try and own that.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Yeah,
which isn't going to work, I don't think. But
well.
But anyway, it's like, I don't think the metaverse is what Facebook is going to build. I think it's the literal meaning of the word, aside from what they're calling it, is already underway in many aspects of our lives through digital platforms of all kinds, video games and virtual forums and stuff. Yeah. It's all the metaverse. Anything. Well, we were talking about this. I think of the metaverse in terms of anytime you think of a community, or anytime you start to get aspects of society in a non-physical space.
Oh, that's an interesting. Yeah, I don't remember you trying. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because we were saying like MMOs are like World of Warcraft. That's a metaverse because you start to get friendships, you start to get economics, you start to get guilds and organizations and tutoring and all this kind of like knowledge base. Like you get so many things
you get this social,
that arise organically from the social interactions in this virtual space. Normally, up until the past whatever years, we've had to have society in physical reality.
Yeah.
You're reading Teddy Roosevelt, which we could talk about for hours, I'm sure. And I'm kind of we should have talked about that.
I'm reading this. I'm reading basically one of the most in-depth. I don't know if it's the most in-depth. I don't know. It's the one that everybody recommends to read, the biography of Teddy Roosevelt.
It's 2,000 pages.
It's 3 books, each of which is like, the first book was 770 pages. And I was like, okay. And then the second book is fewer pages, but the font's smaller. So it's like, okay, it's like,
it doesn't count.
It's like 700 pages again. So
it's like
it's 3 volumes,
pages,
and it's
probably
crazy. It's super interesting.
But what I was going to say is, in that era, all of, like you've been telling me about it, all of the interactions happen in real life.
Yeah.
They have letters, and that's their advanced technology.
Yeah.
And
literally everything happens because people send each other letters. And so I'm in the part I'm reading right now is it's 1902, right? So he's the president. It's like he's only been president for like 8 months. But like it's just starting to like come into the story more and more that they send telegrams now.
Right.
Telegrams? What's
telegrams.
Telegraph?
Telegraph is the technology. Telegram is the letter.
It's a gram.
Itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're sending telegrams, and that's like, it's. I mean, maybe it was around more than I thought, but I think this is like when telegrams were becoming big.
Right.
Right. And so like if they need to send like really important information, they send it as a telegram, and it's like, it's coming into the story more and more, and I can almost feel like, oh, this technology is becoming integrated into the world at this point. And it's so weird. It's so bizarre. Like everybody, he has to like take trains to go places. He like goes places, you know what I mean? Like
to do things, right?
To do things.
He can't like
any
call
other
way.
Texas and be like, hey, I want to set up a rally. I mean, I guess he can. He can send a telegram, but it's like,
now.
Well, no, but even, I don't know. It's just, you actually have to do things.
That's different
back
than
in the
calling
day.
too. I mean, like,
totally different.
Like,
he has to
still
say.
Have to wait.
Well, it's funny the way that they they like shorten the messages to, like, I've been trying to like figure out like what are the
codes.
It's kind of like unclear to me like what the grammar is that they're using to make these messages shorter. Like sometimes they leave out the.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where
yeah.
it'll be like, president is blah 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 blah.
That's
right
funny.
in the Telegram, because they want to save. It's easier to just send fewer words, but sometimes they say the, right. So it's not like they just there's a whole grammar there. I want to like learn more about that.
Is that
crazy.
like a rule, or maybe it's a rule that they don't follow all the time?
Yeah,
it's
I don't think
held?
I think it's probably not a rule. It's probably just like keep your message as short as you can be, and then it's like. But I'd be interested to like read more of these and like see like what are the kind of like what do they cut out of their sentences to make them work? Yeah, right. To make them still make sense.
You can still send anything of any length. It's just more of a pain in the ass.
It's more of a pain in the ass, and it probably costs more or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't know because they're not. Line. It's not like they're going super sparse and like trying to get rid of all redundancy. Like sometimes they say things they don't need to say to get the point across.
Okay. Well, that might just be because they didn't try hard enough.
Well, exactly. So I'd be interested. Like, I basically I want to start reading telegrams and stuff. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting.
Is that gonna be your next hobby? I'm getting into telegrams.
Next podcast, I'm gonna have a whole bit about fucking telegrams.
They're crazy. So, you guys heard about this? Could be the new thing.
I don't know. I can't even do a joke about it because
what if we do
don't know anything
telegrams on the blockchain?
Dude, they could fit. They're only like a couple. They're like bytes. They're not even kilobytes.
Yeah. So
dude, these telegrams are on the chain.
Dude, that's on the chain, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's the new off the chain. It's called on the chain.
It's called on the chain because blockchain's the cool place.
A little blockchain joke for you. But anyway, the cool where we were going is back in the day, they just had society based on real life, right? I mean, in caveman days, it was just, ooga booga, you know, and that's how society started, right? Just like that, exactly. But then, we're by forming these ways of communication, we're like adding layers, which is interesting because it's like, I was just learning about blockchain layers, where there's layer 1 blockchains, which is like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are like the fundamental layers that things are built on top of. But then there's secondary layers which allow scaling. So I don't know if we want to go down there, but
probably don't go too to depth. Yeah, but sure.
But it's basically like,
I don't know anything about this, so.
Well, okay, so Ethereum's pretty soon going to come out with layer 2, which is going to enable other chains to be built on top of them.
Right.
And it's really their competitive advantage because once you can scale at the second layer, it's like a second order function, right? You're.
I listened to a podcast with Vitalik on it, and he was talking about this, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
I don't understand it very well. But basically, the idea is it's going to allow Ethereum to scale in ways that other layer 1 technologies can't. But
something like that. Sure. Yeah.
We don't have to go there.
Yeah.
But the point is, I don't remember what the point was, so maybe you can refresh me.
No, the point is that, like, as we develop technologies, we keep on adding layers to them, right? Where it's like we're getting into the next layer of the metaverse, of communication technologies might be one that's built on the web, that's built on our current infrastructure for communication. Yeah. But is deeper in some way, where it's like now we're doing some kind of VR maybe related thing. Where it's like,
well, you can think of it in broad terms where it's like, telephones didn't replace talking to people in real life. They just added a new way to talk to people.
Now you could talk to people farther away.
Yeah, and I think that's what the metaverse is going to be. Yeah. Bottom line, it's just another.
It'll be
another
an
medium.
It'll be an improvement
better for some
on the current
things and
deepest
worse
layer.
for a lot of things. You know. So.
Oh man, that is beautiful. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. What a magnificent place.
I don't know if that's in the shot. Probably not in the shot.
Well, they probably got it earlier.
You get the idea. There's mountains.
There's beautiful sun things happening.
I'm getting a little cold.
I'm getting a little cold too. How a little cold are you getting?
I like a medium.
Medium. We'll go a little more.
We'll go a little more and then we'll stop.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about like one of the obvious improvements we've discussed before about, you know, what do we actually need? Like, okay, there's a lot of speculation as to what is the metaverse going to be? What's the future? How's VR going to fit into this? How's whatever going to fit into this? You know, what's the next big thing? That's always the question.
Right.
And I think something that we need, it's related to the Skype thing, where it's like, Skype still sucks. Video chat still sucks. It always falls apart. It's stupid. Something we need that we've talked about is you actually want a spatial awareness of who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So that you can have like hierarchies within a group context.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. Basically, like, web calls as they exist right now are so
they're
bad.
Uniform.
They're
where it's everybody is on the video. Maybe you have something in Zoom where it's like, I'm the speaker, so you guys are all muted or something.
Yeah, but that's like so primitive.
Yeah, it's 0 and 1. You know what I mean? It's like, we need something where we're in a group context and I can lean over to you and go, yeah, what do you think about that thing with the whatever, you know?
Right.
And we can do something, you know, you can have a sub conversation within a larger conversation where there's a round table.
Well, the main thing is, even like if you're in an office setting, the meeting isn't just the meeting. It's the preparation for the meeting. It's the talking about the meeting. It's the walking to the meeting and talking before the meeting starts, and, you know, preparing to present something at the meeting, and then presenting something at the meeting, asking a question at the meeting, raising your hand, leaning over to your friend at the meeting, looking at what he has in his hand. Yeah. There's so much that doesn't even come close to, you know,
what Zoom calls
are now, and that's why remote work.
That's the problem with remote work right now.
You know, it's good. I think it's
I've had a good time with that. I think
there's a lot of benefits. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants it. But
not everybody though.
Well, no, not everybody. But most people want to be able to go anywhere when they're at work.
But it's like,
it's a clear benefit.
Yeah, but it's like, how do you? What is the thing we need to improve on within this setting? Right. Within the setting of, I'm not actually next to you, but we need to communicate about something that's difficult to communicate about.
Yeah.
Right? I think one of those things is sub conversations, and, well, I don't know, it's a little weird, because like one of the biggest things I think is the ability to just walk up to someone and talk to them.
Yeah.
Hey, can I talk to you about that thing? Right now, the way you do that is you click on video call and it goes, and
then it rings and they're like, oh, I don't want to answer it. I'm busy. I'm in a productive mood.
Exit. Right.
Yeah. You can't, in other words, you have no information as to whether or not now would be a good time to talk to them.
Yeah.
Which normally you can see, oh, they're sitting at their desk, they're twiddling their thumbs, they're staring at the sky.
Right. And
I can butt in.
And you can do a subtle thing where you're like, hey, do you have a minute? Can I just bug you for a second?
And they're like, no, give me 5 minutes. I'll go.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, no problem.
How much time did that take? How much effort did that take? Nothing.
Right. And
Versus,
now,
you get a notification on your phone. Hey, can you talk for a minute? Oh, let me click on it, open it, type.
Of course I don't want to talk to you right now.
Yeah.
I thought I was alone, you jerk. You know,
right.
That's the typical. That's my reaction. If I ever get a video call, I'm like, oh God, I didn't know you were here.
Right. If it's just a video call out of the blue, it feels like, so.
Geez, man, I'm fucking in my pajamas or whatever.
Yeah. Right. They couldn't see that. If they could see that your avatar was wearing pajamas, they'd be like, oh, he's in his pajamas.
I don't know if I like that either, though.
No, exactly. The point is, when we have avatars, it's not going to really fix that, which is my point about that I just made up. about Horizons, where it's like, we'll all have avatars and we'll be in digital workspace. And it's like, yeah, but how are we going to really be able to tell what you're doing? Because you don't actually want people to know what you're doing when you're doing remote work.
Yeah.
That's the point of remote work. Right?
Yeah. Well,
so it's like, I don't want you to know that I'm sitting on my couch, eating ramen noodles and scrolling through my emails.
Right.
And if you...
Well,
but
it's like... the way you would put that into... The way you would put that into... like a virtual, like a VR space, right? Like what is they call it? Horizons? Horizons?
Yeah, that's their new product, I think.
Meta,
they're gonna come out with.
Horizons Zero Dawns. The
Horizon Zero Privacy.
Horizon Zero Privacy. That's funny. That's good. You didn't write that down. Excuse me. I just drank 48 ounces of beer or whatever this is. Jeez.
You want some help with that?
No, it's kind of. I like it. It's good. Basically, it's as though, like, if you're going to enter the metaverse, then you're pretty much the metaverse. If you're going to enter this kind of VR domain, it's like you're going into a public place. And even if there are private spots within the metaverse, it's like, I guess there could be private spots.
That's a good proposal. Is like, we all have offices, and you can knock on the office, or you can sit in
that's a good idea.
You can sit in a public open office, conference room type. No, not conference room. Like, you can sit in a lounge area
that's actually a good idea though.
But yeah,
I'm sure it has problems, but it's like
because what we have now is just a indicator that says busy or active or not active
or yellow, whatever yellow means.
That's idle. Yeah.
Idle. There's idle available.
Means you're asleep
busy,
or something.
Not available.
Well, and you can set it to like
what are these?
Currently giving a presentation or something.
Yes.
And it's like no, we need visual cues. As humans, we need visual cues and visual intuitions. We need to be able to say, oh, he's not at his desk. Okay, I can't talk to him. Oh, he's at his desk, but he has headphones on. I'll just drop a note.
Yeah.
Or
or he's on the phone and he looks pissed off. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wait.
Right.
I'll come back in a half hour.
Right. His avatar has like an angry face and like steam coming out of his ears, and you're like, now's not a good time.
The thing is,
and you could totally do that.
You could do that, but I don't want them. You don't want them to do that, right?
Well, unless you can also like it starts to infringe on privacy.
Yeah, well, that's why it's scary.
That's what the company, what I mean? It's like, it could, but there's benefits too, which is like, I want you to start a conversation with me when my avatar is smiling and has its head back.
Right, and he's leaning and he's drinking a margarita and he's in his beach chair.
That's what I want.
His walls are turned into a beach.
That's what I want my available setting to look like. Right, it's very inviting, and you can just read it. Oh, David wants me to talk to him. Because right now, active doesn't mean that. It means I'm doing
on
work
Instagram
online.
Yeah.
And
that's what in Instagram.
Probably don't want to be bothered.
It says active 10 minutes ago. That just means I was on Instagram 10 minutes ago. That doesn't say anything about whether or not I want to talk to nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And you can't even signal that very easily, even with something like Skype. Because when you're active.
Yeah,
that just means you're using the service. It doesn't mean you want to talk to people.
Is this whole space of communication is completely absent, right? There's no way to communicate that I'm yes, technically I'm in my office, but I don't want to talk to anyone right now.
Right.
Or I'll talk to you if it's really necessary, but I don't have much time. I'm busy, right? You cannot. It's impossible to do these kinds of
right. And in person, you can just say it real quick, like I'm busy. I'll get give me 10.
Or your face says it. Your face goes. You're typing, and you go.
Like, or you're typing. That fact that you're typing shows that you're doing something.
Like, go away. I don't want to talk. I'm typing.
I'll bother him later. He's typing something. He's focusing, Right. Yeah. So that's something we need.
That's something we need, and I don't know how we're going to do that in a way that's
Yeah. It's going to be messy.
It's going to be messy.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we're going to... Dude, look at the sky. The sky is freaking crazy right now. You get all the yellows. You get all the kind of oranges. You turn it...
It's so nice out here.
Pinks and purples. The sky is gorgeous right now. You can't see it.
It's cold, but it's very nice.
Yeah, I'm cold.
I'm getting cold too. But yeah, I think that's a great point.
We solved it.
We solved it. We should be in charge. Hey, Facebook, Meta, whatever the fuck you're called, hire us. We need jobs.
Yeah.
We'll fix your damn service.
Dude,
we'll make it good.
We're great programmers. We can
program anything.
Whatever you want.
Anything. You name it.
Yeah.
We got it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Was that
boys and girls?
Done. Boys and girls.
Unless there's anything else you want to add in conclusion. Where can people find you?
I don't know.
Twitter, Facebook.
If you're gonna drink Elysian beers, make the Super Duster or the
Fuzz Duster,
whatever it's called.
Super Fuzz and Space Dust.
Because it's the best one that they have. Is two of them combined. This is a pretty good beer. Maybe it's just because
that's probably why they put it on there. They mix the two and they're like, this is the best beer we make. This is our
best beer. Yeah.
We should probably tell somebody.
They should just mix it. They could just mix it.
Yeah, right.
No, it might also be because I just drank two of them.
Yeah,
so.
that helps. That helps.
So I'm more like, oh, it's good.
Yeah, like I actually do like
so
these.
much beer. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in. And cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. Have a good one.
I'm cold.
Ankles are broken.